So, first off, I want to let everyone know that I am making this series based on a thought from a few days ago that the world is becoming too idiotic, and the far more intelligent are starting to take advantage of that fact. And to show you guys Camtasia Studio 8, which is very expensive and has some interesting ways to make a video your own for way too much money. Now, let's get on to today's reasoning behind why this world is stupid. I assume all of you have heard of the ideas, the pros and the cons, of why video game violence can supposedly cause real-world aggression. To make this simple, I can already tell that more than half of you believe this nonsense. However, today I will be talking over some pros and cons and some of the news of what has been happening on this topic that you may have missed. First, let me talk to you about something I read earlier today. A recently conducted poll of the American people has revealed that more than half of you believe that video game violence and violence in the real world are related in one way or another. Likely because you read about it in an article or watched a news segment on the topic. Or perhaps you've simply heard about Obama's campaign against video game violence since the elementary school shooting. And thus, it must be the truth, and a horrifying truth at that. I am currently looking at the website I spoke of earlier, and I would like to go over some things that were stated. This website, having some of the most logical information as opposed to aggressive babble from overprotective parents, was a choice I thought was appropriate to use as an example. Here is a quote from the website. Increasing reports of bullying can be partially attributed to the popularity of violent video games. The 2008 study Grand Theft Childhood reported that 60% of middle-aged boys who played at least one mature, rated game hit or beat up someone, compared to the 39% of boys that did not play mature, rated games. I wanted to go ahead and point out a few things wrong with this statement. The first being that the same kind of study with the same kind of biased results could be said about a large number of things. Here is a revised quote as an example. Increasing reports of bullying can be partially attributed to the popularity of rated R movies. The 2008 study, R-rated, reported that 60% of middle school boys who had seen at least one R-rated movie hit or beat up someone, compared to the 39% of boys that are lying about never seeing an R-rated movie because they know they are not supposed to. Now, I wanted to give you that example because frankly, there are not very many middle schoolers or high schoolers who have not played a mature rated game at some point in their life, however brief that life may be at the moment, that lifespan. Or at least looked at one played by a sibling and thought that they wanted to play the game in a form of imitation. Also considering the fact that it is looked down upon by parents, many children lie about the game's description to their parents in order to get the game in the first place, and it is becoming increasingly known that violent video games can cause aggression, so the youthful gamer will very likely state that they have never, for the same reason that people don't go on the news and shout out in full public that they do drugs often. Regardless of the children of this age playing video games or not, with laws now preventing the sale of violent video games to minors, many laws, mind you, the fault does not lie with the child, nor the game developer, as fair warning must be given to the parent before purchasing the game for a child, if the state even allows it. The child is not able to walk into a store and buy a violent video game without parental consent. The fault here must lie with the parent who bought the game for their child in the first place. Now, let me state a did you know from the same website. Sales of video games have more than quadrupled from 1995 to 2008, while the arrest rate for juvenile murders fell 71.9%, and the arrest rate for all juvenile violent crimes declined 49.3% in this same period. Now I want to tell you why I decided to use that quote as an example. Violent video games should be viewed more as a portal to express aggression in ways the real world cannot provide, especially not to a teenager or young adult. There reaches a point in age where even roughhousing your friends can get you into trouble with school and with family. This is where video games can come in to play an uncommonly spoken of stress relief role, especially in cases where aggression may build based on a poor family situation or school environment. The reason I use this as an example for the first episode of This World is Stupid is that many of this is known throughout the gaming community. If you look through and do some digging, you will find entire forums and chat rooms dedicated to the subject, and how poorly it is looked upon by the common gamer, both young and old. The idea of ceasing video game violence will, or should, bad parenting not being a fault of the common gamer, never even be an idea, as it would change the world of video gaming for a reason as simple as bad parenting or a bad household and schooling environment, and not for a reason that makes legitimate sense. I chose this to be the first episode because it makes no sense, but according to a recent study, more than half of all of the American population blindly believes the idea that video games are the cause of youth violence because that is what was told to them, not because of what they themselves believe.